discovering your core values. Who gets to choose them? Core values are simply an expression of what has made your organization successful up to this point. They're not something you're inventing out of thin air. They already exist. You're just discovering them. So key stakeholders should be involved in that discovery process. And who those key stakeholders are, well, that's going to be different for every organization. But typically, it means that it's going to involve your core leadership team, and that's usually somewhere between 3 and 9 people. One thing's for sure, you don't want to embark on this process yourself. You want to involve key people with you as you discover these values. Let me teach you a law of human behavior that I think of as the rule of 9. And the rule of 9 just says this: when you have more than 9 people in a room, effectiveness goes down. And that's just because some people will feel afraid to speak up because they don't want to look foolish. So how this works out in a practical sense is you have all these people in the room and it feels more to them like public speaking than just give and take and unfiltered dialogue. So they're very careful before they talk. They don't want to say something that might make them look foolish or stupid. And so they're very careful. So they think through their thoughts carefully. And a lot of people are just inclined to not talk at all. So probably 9 is about the outside limit of how many people you want to have in the room, depending on your team, of course. Your team might have known each other for a long time, and maybe you've got 12 and they'll really engage in debate even though there are 12 people there. But typically I find that 9 is getting close to the limit. Let me share with you another law of human behavior, and it's just this: people embrace what they help create. So if you were in a room alone, you might be able to come up with your core values in a few minutes. Let's say I was your coach and we met at a coffee shop somewhere. In 15 minutes, we could sketch out, here's all the behaviors that have made you unique and have made your organization win up to now, and we could be done. And it would be 15 minutes and we could spend the rest of our time chatting about life. But those core values would not impact your team very much because they didn't help create them. If more people are involved in the discovery process, it'll take longer to agree on them, but they will also be more widely used. So I do a fair amount of business travel, and when I travel by myself, I'm really efficient. I know exactly where to go. I never have checked luggage. So all my luggage is carry-on. I know where to wait. I know how to get on the plane first. I know how to get off quickly. I know how to get to my destination really fast. My business travel is very efficient. And then sometimes I travel with my whole family, and that's my wife and 4 kids. And it's not very efficient. Someone always has to go to the bathroom, and everyone has checked luggage, and the whole process just takes a whole lot longer. But when I travel by myself, it's not very rewarding. It's quicker, it's more efficient, but it's not very fulfilling. When I travel with my family, it takes longer, but it's much more rewarding. It's much more meaningful because we've all shared those memories. And that's what it's like when you involve more people in the core values discovery process. It's more meaningful and it will impact everyone else much, much more than if you do it by yourself or just with another person. So here's how to approach that discovery process. I want you to set up a meeting. Maybe it's a morning meeting, maybe it's off-site, maybe it's an afternoon meeting, but I want you to have a good amount of time to work on this. And I want you to gather your 3 to 9 core people in a room and go through some exercises together that I'm going to give you in a minute. But before you leave that room, I want you to have an idea of what your core values are, but I want you to write them down in pencil because you're probably going to want to change them once you've had time to reflect further. So the first time you sit down and you brainstorm those core values, you're going to come up with some ideas, and then you're going to think to yourself in a few days or in a week, boy, I think we missed something, or maybe this isn't really core to us. So the first pass is done with a pencil. So here are some suggestions for you to help you discover your core values. First, reflect on what makes you angry. So if a violation of a value makes you mad, maybe it's because it's important enough for you to defend. So imagine if you saw a customer being mistreated and you could feel that hair on the back of your neck standing up and you're starting to get angry. Maybe that's because it's actually rooted in a core value. Or how about this? Analyze the values that have been violated in the past. When someone hasn't worked out for you, what was the reason? If you had to fire somebody, what value did they not match up with that you felt like this can't go on? Here's a third way. Make a list of the values that you believe your company should stand for in 50 years. So think beyond your tenure in the company, think legacy, and think, decades into the future, would I still want this value to stand in this company? Ask yourself, are these values that I would want my children to live by, that I would want my family to exemplify?